Mustn't bump the table because Daddy will get mad, won't he?
I wish you had the conviction to do that voice for the entire podcast, because that would make me happy.
Is that a dare?
It is a dare. It is a 100% dare, and I can dare with confidence knowing that you are physically incapable of doing so.
Okay, well.
Imagine if you did commit to that, and then we started talking about like the presidential assassination attempt, and you're like, Daddy got shot in the ear.
Daddy, I'm going to refer to Trump as Daddy now.
Please don't. Please don't.
Let's not even go there yet, Nick. Let's
I know.
Just
I don't.
Do the usual bullshit, and then
we'll bullshit.
There's a
there.
formula. Let's stick to it.
Yeah.
And follow the script.
Your hair looks different this episode, Michael.
Oh, that's funny you should say that. I actually got a haircut, and I had a weird thing happen at the barber.
Oh, tell me more. What's the weather like?
Yeah, it's cold.
Oh, cool.
How's... all right.
Well. You know, in life, as in pod, sometimes history rhymes, you know, and
great.
In the
well said.
In
great.
The history of this pod, that we 100%. Had an episode in which we rush record after a presidential election, and as it so happens, today we were already scheduled, and we're here on another milestone day.
It's almost like, to the tinfoil hatters out there.
Yeah.
I know we had something to do with it for a little content,
a
but...
little bit of the well running dry, so what we did was...
Officially, Nick, we had nothing to do with it,
Officially, we had nothing to do.
And we'll just say this. Sometimes prayers do work.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's going to be a nice twist ending for this episode if we end up completely, sincerely believing in God.
I do believe in God.
Okay. Well, there we are. We've you don't know, you hear often about a twist ending. You don't often hear about a twist beginning.
And guess what? God.
What?
Is a man.
Oh, I think that's less of a twist.
No, that is the twist now, because everyone goes, God's a woman, you know.
Okay.
So it's more of a twist.
Or is it the twist that he even falls within like two sexes at all? You know, whether even the simple fact that he's like of any comparison to a human physiology, that's the twist, you know, rather than just being like an amorphous sphere of like omniscient energy.
It'd be fine if God was just a dog, which makes sense.
It would be funny.
God.
It would be
just
funny.
Like, I'm a talking dog.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Woof woof, bitches. Go. Yeah. Let's get this
woof,
party
woof,
started.
Motherfucker. Yeah, it's a swearing dog. Wow, twist ending.
Twist ending.
Well, Nick, if I may,
please.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of the world, fellow truth seekers. You are listening to, perhaps, Nick, the most important podcast in the world.
I can't disagree.
Shut up, Nick. It's intro.
Okay, sorry.
This is the Deep Thought experience, okay, where we talk about life, God, dogs, politics, crisps, but most importantly, we honor our fearless leader, American hero, veteran of justice, crusader of peace. Shut up, Nick. Intro. Crusader of peace, patriot, not only of America, but of the world, and perhaps even the galaxy. I'm talking about, of course, President Donald J. Trump.
You almost said Daniel Day-Lewis.
I almost did. And Daniel Day-Lewis.
Patriot.
And joining me on... This is still the intro.
Okay, sorry. I think we might be getting towards the end of the music. Just
loop
gut
it.
Feeling. Okay.
Loop it. I'll just play the American national anthem. Joining me on this voyage of truth and truth adjacent things is my colleague, I guess, and friend, Nick. So you can talk now.
Hi, I guess. Do I do justice?
And I'm Crazy Mike.
I didn't like how this felt. And I have some empathy now because
you're a control freak. That's why.
Well, it was like when you like leave a house and then you sell it to someone or someone else moves in, and then you go back there a year later and you're walking through the halls and you're like, someone's doing this, but they're doing it wrong. They're in my space, And there's just sort of this comfortable familiarity mixed with this like alien, unnatural, sort of foreign entity. And I didn't like that feeling. I just want to live in my house,
Well, you don't live here anymore.
Damn it. So you're going to edit this episode then as well, is that right?
I will be editing.
Okay, wow.
And you're not going to like that either.
No, that's actually worse for me. That one is the worst one. Yeah.
It is a lot worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the host now.
Okay. This is have you been listening to some Joe Rogs again? Because this is a very sort of alpha male move, I guess. You've asserted dominance.
I mean, I don't even know what Joe Rogs is, but I guess
it's an experience.
Alpha is. I think I've been told I'm a Sigma. You know about this? Sigma?
We were talking about this the other day. Remind me what Sigmas are.
It's like a lone wolf, I believe. Like it doesn't even adhere to the alpha beta dynamic.
Right.
It's just like its own thing.
Can I quote our friend Ben from last night, who pointed out that the study ascribing these roles of alpha, beta, that kind of thing, to wolf packs does not hold up. And it's not even true of wolves themselves. They don't have alpha, beta roles, that kind of thing. It's all fiction. It's all just this imagined bullshit.
That sounds like something a beta would say, to be honest.
Okay, well, I can't argue with that. That's a very good point.
Flawless logic. And now that I am the host, we will be discarding of logic. Okay, guys?
Okay. No more science. No more journalism.
Oh, there'll be science.
We're just vibing.
There will be science.
Okay.
It will not be accurate. It will not be accurate.
The only science that you like is stuff that is subsequently retracted by the journals it was published in.
Yep. That's exactly right. And then vaguely like race, like weird, like kind of racist science,
Yeah, whereas like studying 12 people, but solely to prove like a really prejudiced point.
Yeah, that's the kind of education
they
you get.
do have smaller brains. I knew it.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the first part of that, Nick?
I went non-specific deliberately so that everyone can bring their own biases to it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, we live in now. Okay, so I'm the host now because the world's topsy-turvy. Up is down. Donald Trump will be and should be the next president of the United States. Assassinated almost this morning. And honestly just took it like a fucking champ.
That's ridiculous. Took it like a champ.
Are you kidding me? I suspected this would be your take. If you cannot give him that he took that like a fucking champ, you are so off the deep end, Nick.
Look. I
imagine
there's so many places to start here.
Let's go to all of them.
Violence for political aims is a poison, and this is not a good thing that happened.
Can be useful.
I will credit you that for someone who got shot in the head, he was fairly calm and under control.
Cool.
I think that image of him like fist pumping afterwards is
inspiring.
one of those images, right? Like that's a obituary image. That
imagine that
sticks.
photographer, like getting the flag in the background with the blood. I mean,
but also
with the chaos going around.
Yeah. Also, he's there. He's in the front row, And there's bullets flying. Yeah.
Oh man, incredible.
That is a crazy shot, in more ways than one. How close he came to political assassination. I mean, this is the bad timeline currently. That is a worse timeline. Like, there is no outcome of this where it goes anywhere but chaos.
We were so close
to another JFK.
Seeing Donald Trump's head blown off and having footage. Crazy. And I'd be going straight to X to watch that.
You know it would be on X, yeah.
It would be. Oh man!
Can I take a brief tangent here? Did you see what Elon Musk's response was?
No, I haven't checked in with my boy.
Elon Musk's response was, "Well, actually, 2 people have tried to kill me in the past 6 months." I'm not even joking.
That is great.
His response to it was,
"Hello."
Well, yeah, hello over here. Crazy.
No one cared when
it's just narcissist war now. Yeah,
I love it.
It is an incredible fuck up by the Secret Service, right?
They seem so slow off the mark.
So slow off the mark to get up there. Then he's like, his fist pump thing.
Fucking awesome.
What are they fucking doing? Letting him like stand up again and like get his head out of the shot again.
I read an article by the ABC this morning that said apparently he was telling the Secret Service to wait and hold off. So that they wanted to move him out, and he was like, "No, let's wait."
Crazy.
I know, legendary stuff.
I also saw there was an interview on the BBC with a witness who said that they had notified the police that he saw someone with a rifle climbing up on the roof, and the police didn't go and do anything.
Yeah, no, I think I read the same thing. He said that some people were saying, "Why is Trump still talking? There's clearly a guy with a with a rifle on the roof."
On the roof, yeah.
And then to get to that point and then miss the shot, though.
But I mean, that's inches, though. I mean, that's still an incredible shot. Like, because he was out of the. Oh no, but seriously,
shooter.
like.
So you're giving the shooter the props, but you weren't
benefit of the
doubt. Now, I'm confused because I'm really keen to know what the motive of this is. I'm guessing it's just a crazy person looking for attention. That's not necessarily politically motivated.
I don't
because
think
you wouldn't expect a lefty to have a gun, or a lefty's not going to do this.
No, I don't think this is like a left-leaning hit. Right? This is a crazy person. As to what the motivations are, who knows? The number of people out there who are immediately like, "This was staged," is really worrying.
My mum said that in the chat.
That's really unsettling.
She was like, "Oh, it's probably a publicity stunt." I was like, people died.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty intense marketing strategy.
At least one of the audience members behind him, plus another person seriously injured. And very, very close to there being no Donald Trump anymore. The staging thing makes no sense whatsoever. If we take at face value that it was bullets flying, which seemed reasonable at the start, obviously there's noises, there's confusion, no one knows exactly what happens yet. But if you take at face value that what it seemed like happened, then the idea that someone could just agree to nick him in the ear, or that there was some sort of control there that could allow for this to have been orchestrated by the Trump campaign is batshit. And anyone giving that legitimacy is insane, right? That's just not how reality works.
If anyone's going to consider it, it's probably going to be the Trump camp, but they can't pull this off. Also, Trump just seems like such a pussy, and it couldn't have happened to a more annoying person because. I mean, he's slagged off veterans and stuff in the past, and he famously himself got out of what is it, conscription or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like now he's got this. Now he's got I fucking survived an assassination.
Yeah,
and we have to give it to him. It's going to be annoying as fuck, but we have to give it to him. And you would have expected Trump to be like you would to freak out,
Yeah.
That's what you kind of would have hoped. We get to see the real Trump, the real little boy, without the ego, the scared boy. But he wasn't that, which is interesting. He was pretty brave.
he seemed annoyed, right? Like he was almost the weird
which is
way
very
that
alpha.
The weird way that I saw it,
the killer.
But the way that it like read to me is almost in the same way as like when someone in the press circle asks a question that doesn't jibe with his reality, right? Yeah. Where they're being pressured, like that famous interview with the Australian journalist from Axios who had the graphs and was like looking at the data and then like pushing back at Trump and being like, no, that's not what this says. I'm talking about over, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. His reaction to those kind of confrontations is like, you can watch his brain like not compute with it because external facts that are trying to contradict his internality like must be expelled. And it sort of gave me that vibe here where he gets shot and he like flinches and he feels his ear and whatever. And then his defiance that comes back from it is like, this can't happen because I'm me. So this deserves dismissal almost, like it triggered that same sort of response, I think.
Yeah. And not only that, it's he was chanting fight when he was being taken away by Secret Service. So on the stage, he chanted fight. Oh. And all of a sudden it's like this joke of a man and of a candidate becomes, I don't know, it martyrs him for one, but then it also kind of validates. He kind of even like just on a visceral emotional level without, thinking about his policies or whatever, or his fuck ups, it kind of on a visceral level, like turns him into a serious political figure.
It's weird. I know what you mean. Like it does approach like martyrdom almost, where like, because of the threat now, he needs to be treated seriously. But he's always been given disproportionate seriousness for the kind of person that he is, really. Like he's been treated as a serious person. Well, in as much as you have to take him seriously because he's dangerous. But just as a serious man. I don't know. I don't know what the words are, but it's like you have a visceral emotional response to this stuff. And the other weird thing is that like it's funny that guns, will this change anything for him? Like he's like, well, now things are different because I was attacked by a gun. As in, get the NRA off his back and his position on assault rifle bans and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like the Republicans getting hurt by their own game.
I mean, I saw someone hypothesize like the funniest outcome that should come from this is that he has like a real change of heart and he's like, gosh, I've just decided politics isn't for me. Like this is... all that I'm doing is sowing divisiveness in the country, and so I've decided to step down. Like, imagine if he has this brush with death, and life flashes before his eyes, and all of a sudden his entire reaction is to step away.
That would be fun, but I think that's the least likely.
Not going to happen, but it just funny.
Yeah, I mean, like he's already put out a statement. His statement was pretty great, by the way. It was like focused. It wasn't even focused about him. It was focused on the other victims who died. And I'm not sure if it was one or two. I read both. But what does he do now? Does he hold off on the campaign trail?
I mean, this is effectively going to be a campaign booster for him. Like he will be able to capitalize 100%. On this, even if he's not out in rallies anymore.
This is the best thing that could have happened to them.
Yeah. The crazy, just to go back about his like response to it all as well, is when Paul Pelosi was attacked by that guy with a hammer, he was like, what an idiot, who would, this guy comes and attacks you and he doesn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. Like complete psychopath response, right? Like absolutely no empathy. And it's, of course, incredibly revealing, though not incredibly surprising, the way that he's immediately the victim, immediately all of the Democrats as well extend their well wishes. Biden calls him, all this kind of thing. It does contrast character pretty plainly when you see it from both directions, where someone on the other side of the aisle gets an attempted attack.
I don't really think he's. Well, I haven't seen him play the victim.
No, but I mean, I'm talking about the fact that when you look at the contrast to how he responded to attacks against people of the opposing party versus the way that the Democrats now have responded to him today by calling for, no violence, decrying this kind of behavior, calling to check that he's okay and everything. And meanwhile, when Paul Pelosi gets attacked by a hammer, he's like, that idiot,
Right.
It does reveal the distinction between the ways that these two parties operate, really, and how they see each other.
I take your point. I think if this happened to Biden, I would imagine Trump couldn't not put out a statement.
Oh, he would have to put out a statement, but it'd be one of those ones which is like the most terse, like, we wish him the best without any kind of actual sincerity behind it.
Down the bottom.
This is a meme. Is this on Getty Images?
It would be a meme, actually.
Yeah.
Dude, Biden would be dead now. Biden would be dead because he would have had a heart attack or he would have tripped over.
Yeah.
And that probably would have been the best thing for Biden's campaign too.
I thought that this chat was... I thought this pod, we were going to get into this and be like Biden part 2, right? But there's the landscape has changed again.
After the debate, Biden looks weak, right? And Trump looks at least strong in the sense that he has some sort of stage presence that, in that specific debate. And this only reinforces that narrative of strength for Trump and weakness for Biden, because you directly go, well, what if this happened to Biden, and then people play it out in their head, probably falls like he's not surviving.
I don't think I've gone to that place. Maybe that's something that is happening in others, but my response to this was not, what if it had happened to Biden? How would Biden have handled this? I haven't played out that hypothetical. I did think, I'm trying my best not to give in to idle rumor mongering and speculation, because as we record, this is only 4 or 5 hours since it's happened, so there's still a lot of unknowns out there. But one of the big questions, I suppose, that will really define how this plays out for everyone is how quickly they can identify who it was and why it happened. Because if there's
they're dead already, apparently.
They are they found them, shot him. We don't know if that was because the gunman, started firing and they, took him out, or like whether there was resistance or whether this was suicide, or we don't know exactly what happened. The rationale behind it, if that is able to be identified, will really determine, I think, how this plays. Because if there is just psychotic break and there's no clear political agenda behind it, that's one thing. If there's some sort of manifesto there, if it's like who would want to actively kill Trump is actually quite a interesting, complicated question, because for all of the reasons that the left fucking hates him, with good reason, I think you're right that generally speaking, they don't turn to violence for the solution to that. They are typically very, almost ineffective at actually acting on these kind of things. Politically, I mean, in terms of enacting change, let alone grabbing a gun and going to solve the problem yourself. So
it could happen. Democrats have guns too, but they don't. I don't know. I think psychotic break is more likely. Like if someone wants to get famous, or you know, it's the government, or maybe Trump knows something about aliens, and they're like,
Or
oh,
here's the big one: time traveler from the future.
I like it, Nick.
Came
Say
back,
more.
couldn't get over the line. But in the post-apocalypse, they identified this as the moment in which, you know, things had to be changed to reset the timeline. Couldn't follow through.
I love that. That's my new theory.
Yeah. I'm very curious how Trump will try to spin the shooter, because that's going to be very interesting. Because his political strategy is always victimhood, right? And I'm not saying that he's not a victim here. Obviously, he was the victim of an assassination attempt. But in terms of spinning anything that happens into an attack on his opposition, right? That's his playbook. This is, you know, Democrats being weak on crime. This is an immigrant who crossed the border. This is, you know, that's his playbook. So depending on what comes out about this person, I'm going to be very interesting to see whether it, you know, if it turns out this was a Republican who was like sucked up in the QAnon cult and became convinced that there was like a message here that they needed to replace him or something like that. That's going to be a very different thing to spin than if it's like a left-leaning guy who decided that enough was enough, you know, or if it was a person with schizophrenia, you know, or like someone who'd got an assault rifle illegally, you know, all of these different plays, all of these different facts play differently.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really going to, the best thing you can do is, I don't know, like, wait, the sympathy built into an assassination attempt is enough. So the best thing you can do is just kind of let it come to him.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
He is not going to be able to stop himself from getting back on stage in front of people.
No.
And that's going to be a crazy scene when he first speaks after the attack. And, you know, like actually. He tells the story of what happened. It's going to be crazy.
Dude,
I mean, this was already
what song is he going to choose?
What song is he going to choose?
Dude,
I'm a survivor. I can't.
Destiny's Child.
Hell
yeah.
The political landscape in the lead up to this election was already so tense, so fraught. Can you imagine in the hypothetical where he was 1 inch to the left and, you know, this is all over? Imagine what would have just ensued as a result. I sincerely think they would have stormed the Capitol again. And I know that sounds crazy, but like if you think about the way that the right would read an assassination of Trump right now, it would be a deep state conspiracy that Biden solicited, and they would go to the fucking Capitol again and they would break in. And you just know it would literally be like civil war. And we were an inch away from absolute insanity.
You're so right. It would just, America would flip upside down.
It would fall apart. It would absolutely, there would be no way to have an election that would be treated seriously as an actual expression of democracy by both sides at that point. That you would be unable to convince the right then that politics was not rigged. It would literally be the end.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it's a good thing that he survived, because I think it's the only chance.
In that respect.
No, I mean in every respect. As I said at the top, political violence is abhorrent. But yeah, like how close we came to absolute upending of democracy is worrying as fuck.
I can't believe it. Like I'm shook this morning. Like I woke up and there were 8 messages from people.
Yeah.
And I was just going through article after article and just watching the video. And I'm like, what is the world? What is life right now?
It's crazy. We're living in insane times.
Where is Melania in all this?
She was out shopping. She was just with friends.
I haven't seen her in ages.
And neither has Trump.
Is she around?
I saw there was a photo of her with apparently her stylist who dresses her or something like that. So I think she's out and about. And all the gays were like, look at how he's dressed. He's not a stylist.
Oh. Not like it was like a boy toy thing.
No, he's like an old 50-something white guy. Yeah.
Mm.
Do you imagine that she called him being like, oh, Donald, how are you?
Baby, your ear, how is it? Is it you're still bleeding? I don't even know what
I don't know what
sounds like anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think she called.
Do you think
she's probably the one that was behind it?
Do you think the kids showed up?
Melania's.
Melania.
That's a good theory.
Now I get it. Now we finally cracked it.
Yeah. All the other Tiffany Trump. What's the forgotten one?
Tiffany Barron. Barron.
No, Barron's around. No, who's the forgotten one that hates him? I think it's Tiffany. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Though you can bet your ass that those Secret Service agents are going to be fired. They're fired.
Do you think he'll fire?
That's a Trump impression, by the way.
Versus exalt them as heroes.
No, I reckon he's pissed off at them.
Probably, yeah.
Because he's hearing the reports of people seeing the shooter climb up on the roof and no one doing anything. So
yeah,
they're all gone. They're dust.
Yeah,
toast. Toast.
Well, shall we talk Biden briefly then? Because up until now, the entire news cycle has been about Biden post-debate. On the pod last time, I was reading through the data about how debate performance is not particularly predictive of votes and polling performance. There has then been subsequent data that's come out about how perceptions have changed, whether or not he's seen as competent and capable in the wake of the polling. I think that you would probably agree, based on those numbers, less impactful than you might think for the amount of discussion that has surrounded this topic.
So I didn't understand that for some reason.
Given how much his age and the debate has been a topic of media conversation, the numbers about how he's polling now seem less affected than you might think, given how much it's been discussed in the media. He seems relatively unchanged in terms of people's favoritism towards him as a candidate and his likelihood of winning.
Yeah, no, it doesn't feel right, but it is. I guess it is right. Yeah, but what are polls?
Well, exactly. And polls typically these days are being picked up by like people who have landlines and people who answer phone calls, which is not very young people.
Yeah,
it is difficult to do accurate polling these days.
But then he said Putin.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was on the line of like people underestimate the difficulty that the Democrats would have in convincing the voter base to pivot to a new candidate and knowing how successful that candidate would do against Trump. Kamala being the obvious step in, right? That said, when he called Kamala Trump and when he called Zelensky Putin, I was like, whoa, fuck. I mean, those are two really bad. Those are two really bad mix-ups.
And just the save was the worst part. The save.
Yeah.
He's like, no, what am I talking about? We want to defeat Putin.
Yeah.
Not Putin. He's a terrible guy.
Calling the
Zelensky,
president of Ukraine Putin.
And then Zelensky just like, oh, good. Don't worry about it. Dude, I mean, thinking about Biden's team behind that, just going, did he just fucking say Putin? Oh my God, fuck.
Yeah.
Their team of young staffers must have just been fucking, oh God.
Yeah, it's.
And then George Clooney comes out with a hit piece in the New York Times. Little old George Clooney, Danny Ocean himself.
Do you hear this? George
George Clooney. George Clooney news.
Watch out for that tree.
Mine was a question.
Okay, I'll listen back and I'll mix it so that we get a nice little balance.
Yeah, George, stay out of it, George.
Stay out of it, George.
No one cares.
Did you read it?
I did. And by read it, I mean I clicked it and realized that I didn't have a subscription to the New York Times and clicked out.
That's actually probably healthy.
Pretty wild, though.
It is wild.
Why did he feel the need to do that?
That's what I'm not sure. That's where my take on this is.
And it's personal as well, because he said that the Joe Biden that I met 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's personal.
He hosted a fundraiser and said that he's seen Biden's deterioration in the decade since he's known him or something like that. And to me, it's just like, well, yes, he's an old fucking man. I get that. But I don't know why George Clooney's like, you know who needs to know my opinion? Everyone.
Mm-hmm. The world.
Do you think it's a little bit of a Amal? Do you think, not that Amal's pushing this, but like his closeness to it, where he feels like he's now in these like circles with the people that he's speaking to, has given him a little bit of like, I actually do know what I'm talking about.
For sure. I mean, look, he knows as much as Trump, who is just another celebrity.
Yeah. I would argue that he knows more than Trump on a lot of cases.
Probably. I just, it's confusing.
They're both actors, so we've got to treat them with the same gloves.
Yes. It's confusing. I don't know. I guess potentially, if he is connected to the Democratic Party, and there are kind of there is kind of a feeling of we'd rather Joe kind of drop out himself. So can we like pull on some strings without it looking like us? Do
you think that Biden's like, oh, well, if George is saying it,
I know.
I mean, George, he's in the movies.
You want to see my bad Joe Biden?
I'd love to.
What was that? What are you doing?
Clooney. I mean, it's not bad. It's in the vicinity of Seth Meyers' Biden. No,
it's better than that. It's more Dana Carvey, I think.
Really?
Dana Carvey does a good Biden because he does like this. He does the he's like, what are you doing? He says he says it's like your dad finding that you're spray painting the car or something. What are you doing? But Biden talks like that to like the world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
I'll work on it.
George has been the last thing that I saw George in is fucking Nescafe Nespresso commercials. So it's a bit of a wild juxtaposition to be like in that ad with Julia Garner where he's like, no, cold, and like they're trading like scooters or something like that. That stupid fucking ad which I see all the time. To him being like op-ed New York Times political candidacy.
Yeah.
Just like,
why is the coffee guy writing about politics?
I don't like your coffee. I'm not going to like your political opinions.
Yeah. Why is the guy from ER?
Yeah. What I do want to know is Maureen Dowd's opinion on Nespresso coffee pots. Then I'll be very invested.
Maureen, I don't know.
That's a joke for the political listeners.
Okay. Well, thanks for excluding me on the political.
Hey, as the sidekick in this pod that you're hosting, I get to throw away jokes, and you have the responsibility of playing straight man. So this is the hot seat. Welcome to it.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh, sidekick. Gosh. I like that for you, actually.
Yeah. You're the Andy Richter to my Conan O'Brien.
Well,
tall, lanky white guy.
Yeah. Can I take you on a little saga that I experienced over the last week?
Yeah, I'd love to. I got little bits and pieces here as well. I'm I was going to say armed with, but that feels inappropriate in the context. I'm armed with just a full barrage of little story bullets.
I can't wait for you to fire at
Unload.
Me. Unload feels more sexual than violent.
Well, read it how you want.
So if you recall, so a couple of years ago, 2020, end of 2021, start of 2022, January 2nd, you might recall that I was moving out of house and I rented a van on through Car Next Door.
I do remember this.
And in the process of this, I dinged up the side, both in and coming back out, and caused about $3,000 worth of damage, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give you and the listeners a little bit more brief context here. So I caused $3,000 worth of damage on a car share thing, and they were like, you owe us $3,000, and I was like, well, I'd rather go on a payment plan for that kind of money, and they said no. And then I rang my sister, who's a lawyer, and she said they have to. So just go back to them and say you're going to go to Consumer Affairs if they don't budge. And then they eventually did budge, and they said, okay, well, you can pay us $200 a fortnight, right? Yeah. So it was something like that. Cut to last year in April, all of that was paid off, right? Case closed. Got an email. Case closed. In that time,
was there interest on that, or is that just a flat?
No, it's just flat. In that time, Uber Car Share bought Car Next Door, so they absorbed the debt, or whatever.
Yeah,
that
it was transferred to
you get it.
Yeah.
So that was April of last year. So then, 2 weeks ago, I was checking one of my bank accounts. And I saw there was an attempted charge on there for $140, and it bounced because it's a kind of everyday spending account, so it's not always funded fully. And it bounced, and it was Uber Car Share, $140, and I was like, what the fuck? So I got on the chat and I said, "What is
the chat to the bank or to the Uber?"
Sorry, the chat to the Uber Car Share. And I said, "Can you tell me what this is?" And they said, "That's a debt collection costs." And I said, "For what?" And they said, "For the car that you
damage
banged up." And I was like, "That has been closed for a year." Yeah. And also, you don't give me a heads up and say we're going to chat out of the blue.
Nowhere.
And they're like, the agent was like, "Yeah, that is pretty weird. I'm going to look into this for you and make sure it doesn't happen again." So I haven't lost any money here at this point.
Yeah.
Because it bounced. So that was on a Friday. On the Monday, wouldn't you know it, $140 out of my account, and again, and it goes
this
through.
This time it does go, yeah.
And so I get on the chat, and I'm like, I've already got a case thing open with them, a thread, and I'm like, what is like? I was told that this was going to be taken care of, and it's happened again.
Yeah.
And they kind of, "Oh, yeah, we'll look into this for you. Sorry about that. We'll get back to you in 3 business days." I'm like, okay. 3 business days happens. I think it's Thursday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's happening? What's the state of play? And they're like, we don't know. We're still looking at. We need a little bit more time. I'm like, okay,
that's not good enough. Yeah.
I started to get a little bit terse with them, which is interesting because you can't really get that. Your anger doesn't really translate.
Yeah, in the chat box.
There's only so many emojis that you could use. So I'm getting really frustrated with them. I'm getting palmed back and forth between agents. And I said to them, look, if the money's not back in my account by the end of the week, Friday, then I'm going to make a formal complaint with Consumer Affairs.
Yeah.
And they said, I'm sorry to hear that, blah, blah, blah. So Friday, what's happening? Nothing, not hearing anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll give it till Monday. Monday, again, chat with them. I said, what's happening? And this time they say, yes, let me look into this for you. I can see that this case has been resolved. And I was like, to what?
How?
You're gonna tell me?
As in?
And they say, that was a debt collection cost. And I said, yeah, I know that. And they say, and we can't refund debt collection costs. And I was like, what? So you're not doing anything. You're keeping the money? And they said, there's nothing we can do. And I was like, can I speak to someone else? And she said, no. And I was like, what?
But what's it for? I didn't expect this.
So it's the part of a fee for having to collect debt? I have no idea.
A year after it happened.
A year and a bit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm enraged.
And it's infuriating because you can't even speak to a human. There's no phone number. You can't get to anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just a weird thing. Like deck, like what is this fucking Monopoly deck collection?
Yeah.
Like I just landed on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sense. And it's also so invasive, like a big company, just like they've got your card details on file and they can just reach into your take out money. That seems just so wrong. It's not even really about the money.
Yeah.
Infuriated. In this time I had drafted a complaint on Consumer Affairs.
Yeah.
So I was ready to press send. So I press send immediately. Going on Reddit. This has happened to a few other people.
Yeah.
So they suggested call a bank, which I should have done earlier. But so I called the bank. Now, shout out to Commonwealth Bank. Their staff are incredible. Like awesome. I've called them a few times. They are so good. They're like so understanding. Yeah. And more importantly, I spoke with a girl and a guy. They both sounded really hot. You know when people sound hot?
So good.
You know? I'm like, you guys are gorgeous.
Deep
I can tell.
Italian accent, just like that beautiful kind of drawl that's like, I'm getting hard already. I can't even see you.
Exactly. And they asked me to actually not say that. But we're trying to help you, Michael. But they were really so understanding, and they were like, "Yeah, that just feels wrong." Like on an emotional level, they were there for me. So the first girl puts me over to a guy. I can't refunds or bank fraud or something like this. Incorrect, unauthorized transfers, whatever. Yeah. And the guy takes every detail of the of my story, and he says, "Okay." And we chat for about 20 minutes, and he goes, "Okay, this is what we're going to do. I've just put the money back in your account." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, we'll just cover it." And I was like, "You're going to cover it?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's already in there. I got a notification on my phone like then."
Wow.
And I was like, "Wait, I mean, thank you, but." Wait, so they just get away with it?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, we'll look into it, but a lot of these situations, there's not really much we can do, so we're happy to just cover it." And I was like, I really appreciate it, but also, like, now I'm just like more like fuck Uber car share.
Yeah.
And he was like, "All right, well, have a good day." I'm like, "Thanks, man, Patrick." Shout out to Patrick.
And the hero,
my hero, and. All right, so I get the money back. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just let it go.
Yeah.
I've deleted my cards off Uber Car Share, closed my account.
Yeah.
That's Monday. Friday comes around. I've forgotten it, and I get a call from an unknown number, and it's an older lady from Consumer Affairs.
Oh.
And she's like, "I'm calling about this case. Has this been resolved?" And I was like, yeah. It's kind of been resolved. Like I got the money back. She's like, "From the bank?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay." And I was like, but Uber Car Share
they just took it.
Pretty wrong.
Yeah.
And she said, "Yeah, well, I was actually reading your case, and I was going to urge you to seek legal advice because what they did was illegal."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Really? Now this is the real money that I get back." And she says, "Yes. Firstly, if they're going to charge you a significant amount of money, they have to communicate that with you.
Yeah.
But secondly, it is illegal to pass debt collection costs or fees onto the consumer."
Yeah.
This is beautiful to me, right?
Yeah.
Lovely. I'm like, hell yeah. And I was like, "So what should I do?" She was like, "Well, I mean, just if you got the money back, just leave it." I was like, "Oh, okay." It feels wrong. She's like, "It is wrong, and it's disgusting, but it's not probably a battle you're wanting to fight."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right." So I'm feeling really vindicated.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I got the money back in my pocket,
and I know I was right. Yeah,
and I know I was right. Twist ending, cherry on top, right? Then the following week, I get an email from Uber Car Share saying, "We have looked into this and we have decided to refund your money."
Oh.
So I doubled up.
What? That's amazing.
How cool is that?
I wonder if Consumer Affairs called Uber. Because if they've got multiple complaints about this, or Combank chased it, And Uber's like, fuck, okay, I guess now there are big boys looking. And bang, here we've resolved it. God, what a story. What a
David and Goliath
saga.
battle.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a real win.
When you fist pump your arm in the air there, you're really giving me Trumpian vibes. So that's...
Yeah. You like that?
Yeah.
Skype needs to have, you know how they do the effects?
The thumbs up effect.
The American flag just pops up when you do the fists. Hell yeah. America.
At 54 minutes, I think that's officially the first joke in this episode. So we've got there. We've got one. Look, since we're on the topic,
Let's just make it a long one, man. I got nothing else to do.
I'm actually quite a busy person. Can I give you my Uber story for this week? This one
better be negative.
It is negative.
Excellent.
This is negative, but it's also negative on me. So you're going to love it in two ways.
Let me get settled.
This is not the level of saga. It's not got the character development. It's not got the, the David and Goliath element here. But this is what happened with my Uber Eats this week.
That's okay. You're a writer. You'll probably be able to punch it up.
I'll punch it up
Make it more interesting.
in the edit. I'll put like zoo noises in the background or something.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. I feel like my driveway is now the setting of a lot of like social awkwardness because we've had our discussion last week about the
sounds like the opening of a Charles Dickens novel.
It does. We had discussions about my neighbor and whether or not to say hi to this person. Here's the latest development. So I like an Uber Eats every now and then, call me a savage, call
Millennial.
me a slave of the capitalist hellscape that is the gig economy. But look, every now and then I like to have a little bit of food delivered to my door. What can I say? And I live on a shared lane, as we know, and the distance from that driveway to the front of my house is not very big, maybe 3 meters from the front door to the driveway. But I do have on the Uber Eats the leave at door option selected, or not the like come and knock and hand it over necessarily, but just, pop it on the mat. That being said, because of how frequently people struggle to find our unit of the 8 on the driveway, I often go there, open the door, stand in the door frame, and wave at the person as they drive up and down trying to find us, right?
That's hilarious, but we can move on.
I have incredible instructions. I'm very detailed. Second house on the right as you come up the drive. You have the door there.
No one doubts that, Nick. No one doubts that.
I have the photo. You can put the photo of the front door there so people can spot it. Like, I have it all there. Take the first left into the driveway after the bus stop. It's the second unit on the right. I have all this shit there. No one reads it.
You're the only Uber Eats customer that attaches a PDF to their order.
Yeah, I do. And also, while we're on the topic, I'm pretty sure that the app now shows your literal GPS location live, right? Like when you're being picked up by an actual car, they still show you where you are at that very moment. So, it should be clear which house I'm in. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Sounds like it matters.
It doesn't matter. It does matter. It doesn't matter, though. So, my standard protocol is to open the door, stand in the doorway, and be visible for when they're reversing up and down the driveway trying to find us. Yeah. So last week, rainy day, properly rainy, and I've got my Ugg boots on. I'm not set for an outdoors trek, but occasionally with an Uber Eats, I do have to pop out down the driveway and grab it from them at another house before they hand it off to someone else. It's wet though, and it's not I had a chicken bento box, like a chicken with a Karachi chicken sort of thing. It was very nice. Teriyaki, a little bit of edamame, some of the seaweed. Do you like the seaweed?
White boy Japanese. Yeah, no, I like it. I don't care about seaweed. I'll leave it.
So I'm standing there in the doorway, and it's raining, and there's a guy parked in front of us, so 3 meters away, in front of the driveway. We've found each other. I'm like, great, here comes my food. And he's in the car and I'm in the doorway and it's raining. And there's a little bit of a, are you coming to me? Or am I coming to you? There's a little bit of that, who's... Standoff. Should I take off my Ugg boots, go out into the wet, barefoot, grab it out of the car window? But also I am paying for delivery and sort of...
You're really going to make me do this?
You're sort of... Not to be superior, but you are sort of meant to like give it to me, you know, like
then
that's why
he's
I'm
also
paying
like,
this money.
Yeah, are you going to make me come over there? I mean, I'm on minimum wage.
Yes, and
I'm an
like I don't
immigrant
make
and
that much.
I've come to this country and I'm sending home
Yeah,
money
I'm
to
actually
my family
like
in India.
a brain surgeon, but this is what I have to do to, live here. So there is like a little bit of like a class warfare thing going on between us at the same time.
Sure.
So I stand there, and in any other situation, I'd probably pop out into the driveway. Like I do it all the time. It's wet. I've got my Uggs on. I'm not going, so I just stand there. And he goes. He accepts defeat. This is all silently. This is just through glasses. He accepts defeat, parks the car, gets the bag, and comes out to hand it over to me.
Defeat.
Here's the thing. He gets out and very noticeably limps. Like really not a good walk. Like this person is perhaps not good with a foot.
No.
And slowly limps towards me and then slowly limps back to his car in the rain. And I'm like, terrible. Thank you. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
That'll ruin your appetite.
I think I'm a bad person, Michael. I made a disabled person limp my food to me in the rain.
It's pretty funny. At least you won.
I don't know if I'm good anymore.
You're going to hell. Is he old?
I'd say like 40s. Like, you can't tell a disability. You can't judge a book by its cover. I don't think there were clues that I could have foreseen that maybe he was not able-bodied, but it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good. Look, I think you're in the clear. Food delivery is a pretty mobile activity.
That's true. There's a lot of pickup
in the name.
Yeah.
So if he's driving, he's getting out. I mean, he has to get out to get
the food all the time.
Do you reckon he's faking it?
I did. I did tip more than I normally do.
Sounds like he was tipping more.
Oh.
Hello, folks.
Oh God, yeah.
No, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I tip more. That's okay. That's all right. That's okay.
How much more?
I did a 10%.
Just like the standard around.
Well, my standard's 5%.
I've never tipped on Uber Eats.
Never in Ubers.
No, not a tipper.
I don't tip in like restaurants or things, I don't believe in it generally, but in the Uber context, I do.
I'll tip a food delivery driver with a smile, which you can't put a price on, but about $10 probably.
$10? Wow.
One of my good ones.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if you're going to tip, you don't tip for like 80 deliveries, but then you give one guy $10 cash. It's sort of, it balances out.
Yeah, but it doesn't really work out when you say to spread it
among your friends.
The delivery driver friends. Yeah. Tell your friends. Well, look, I think the moral of the story is fuck Uber, man.
Yeah,
fuck
I agree.
Uber.
I think that's good. I'm going to keep using it.
Hashtag so am I.
Yeah. Okay,
I have no convictions. My favorite restaurant is Pasta Go Go.
That's a deep cut. Good.
Yeah.
Michael, can I have at least 2 myths, and I feel like that's an ending thing. But I do have one sort of like hypothetical question.
Do you want to ask me about Maria Bamford?
I do. Will you tell me? You're running this show.
No, I like to delegate.
Okay. So when I'm in charge, I'll do it. And when you're in charge, I'll do it.
I'm telling you to do it.
Okay. Does that make you feel better?
You can decide.
Okay.
I don't micromanage. Okay.
You're like a supportive leader.
I'm a macro manager.
You got my back, but also
very hands off. Very hands off, but hands on in the office.
Okay.
Handsy.
Well, that's not something you should say publicly.
Well, This is fun. We're having fun.
We're having fun. Michael, what do you think about stickers on products? And let me add further. We bought a tumble dryer this week, and we bought responsibly. I bought a 9-star energy rating, right? I didn't even realize they put them that. You have to get 2 rows now. They're double deckering.
5 was the biggest.
Yeah, they're double deckering now. You can get up to you get a whole other level, right? So we bought this tumble dryer.
You put them in 3. You group them in 3s. I would.
Well, I don't know if 9's
Make
the
a
max.
nice
I think you could get up to 10 maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, the box came. It has the electricity, it's sort of like the nutrition labels like you'd get on a food box, right? Stuck on the outside of the thing. Got this installed, took a photo, sent it to the family chat. Like, hey, look, how exciting. I've got a tumble dryer. We've got a pretty cool family chat. Mum comes back and she says, oh, it looks great. Get rid of the stickers, though. And I was like, what? What's, the stickers are useful. They got information. They see how much electricity they...
What if you want to resell it?
Yeah. Tells you how effective they are, tells you the kilowatt hours it uses per year. That's useful information. Mum's response was like, nah, that's just sales guff, like get rid of them. And I'm like, well, do you cut out the nutrition labels on your cereal box when you get it home from the supermarket? What isn't this just like useful, regulated information? And Mum's like, no, but they're not on public display, nor will they meld with heat over time into the side of the dryer.
Strong opinions about this.
Very strong opinions. And I was like, it's not on public display either. It's in my fucking garage on the private dryer that I own. So
it'll
Michael,
be fine.
Are you a pull stickers off person when you purchase a thing, or do you leave them on there?
I do hate a sticker. I'll tell you where I hate stickers.
Okay.
I would personally leave. I've got a washing machine here.
Yeah.
We've got the stickers on, so I'm with you on that.
Cool.
I hate a sticker on like you buy some chicken breasts, for example, and it's like reduced, but the reduced is over the before date.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's reduced, so it's probably today.
Yeah, you got to eat it now.
Or even like the how big it is, like how many grams. So I hate that. I do pull stickers on. I hate stickers on apples the most.
Oh, yep. That's a very good call.
I don't get that.
That's a very good call.
At all.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some real good reason.
I think it's so if like they get loose or like they're in a big pallet or whatever, and you've got like 5 different types of apples there, you can be like, oh, there's the Ambrosias, there's the red lady, like.
Yeah, but it's like
do you
don't
need
get
to
that
have it on every single apple?
You don't see that at like your little grocer down the road, fruit grocer down the road.
It's think how much fucking like paper and stuff we're wasting on that.
But I'm also really bad at pulling stickers off, and maybe this is a guy thing because we don't have nails. I'm not saying that all women have nails. But,
You're safe. You avoided it. Yeah.
Thanks, man. But and I've got sausage fingers. They're a bit of a nightmare. I don't think about it that much, but yeah, I do hate stickers.
A classy sticker has a non-sticky tab. A classy sticker gives you a way in.
Sure.
So
yeah.
I have to say that I do like if you buy a piece of technology or like a blender or something or a fridge, they come with a lot of like plastic film on the outside or a new computer that you can peel off, and I do find that quite satisfying. That process of unboxing something, and you put
you get a
all
clean
the sides,
you
get a clean pull, and it's like this is fresh, this is factory. I
Yeah.
like pulling all that stuff off. But an information label, I think, is different to a plastic film.
Totes,
and I would never leave a plastic film on a product that I'm actually like actively using. But like data, like information, that's fine. That's there to be absorbed. That's reference material.
Yeah. No, I'll back you on that one.
Okay, I'm grateful of that because I felt like I had a very reasonable position here.
Well, I'm glad we had this chat.
Thank you. That sounded really natural.
I'm a pro.
Do an outro for me, please.
All right. Well, if you don't have much going on in your life, and all your other favorite podcasts,
I'm just gonna go piss.
Okay. I see what this is.
Yeah.
If you like this kind of garbage / factually based chat, then go and check out more of this podcast, The Deep Thought Experience, on your favorite podcast player, Spotify, the other ones, or you can go to our website. I don't know why you would, but you can do that if you want. And our social media, you can go to
Speed it up a little.
Facebook and Instagram. We don't have really many followers, and our Facebook followers are we bought them really through.
They're
ads.
real followers who liked our post and signed up due to unrelated content to the podcast that we produce.
Yeah, it's murky, but yeah, and then this is the real one. Like, if you want to communicate with us, which you can, we're very responsive. Then email us at deep4@gmail.com. And we will literally talk to you about anything. If you have thoughts, if you have a birthday shout out, if you, are depressed and you feel like you might need.
That's a lot of responsibility to put on.
That's too much, isn't it?
That's probably a bit
All right,
much.
don't do that.
If that's the case, call a
Beyond
hotline.
Blue.
Yeah.
Beyond Blue, yeah. Don't call us. All right, yeah, so that's the show. And then now we'll, typically we just talk a little bit more, just for a little dessert.
Yeah. Great outro.
I actually think it was good.
Yeah. It was a bit slow.
Yeah.
I'll try and speed it up.
A bit slow.
Yeah. You didn't say, rate us 5 stars, that sort of thing. You didn't say where people
rate us
could.
5 stars.
Yeah, it's fine. It was fine.
Rate us on the Spotify player.
Hey, Michael, you went to see
salesman,
Maria Bamford last night.
So, Maria Bamford. Okay, I will be quick with this, but I do have some interesting thoughts.
I'm so jealous.
Firstly, saw Maria Bamford at the Palais last night. Maria Bamford was unbelievable, unreal.
That's so good.
So funny, so weird. So my friend Elise, you might remember that she bought John Mulaney tickets, and then she was like, I've got one for you, and didn't tell me until like the last moment.
Yeah.
And so I bought a couple of Maria Bamford tickets, and I was like, I'll take Elise. She loves comedy, but then wasn't really Maria Bamford. Wasn't really that aware of Maria Bamford.
Right.
And only like realized the day of. She was like, I just realized that she was in Arrested Development, which I had forgotten.
Mm.
So she wasn't. I was a little bit. Maria Bamford's a little bit.
She's a flavor.
She's very quirky.
Yeah.
She's very quirky, but she's like. I really think she's one of the great comedians ever.
Agree. Yeah.
If not, top 2. Her and Louis. And interestingly, so this I will come back to that later actually, because there's an interesting point. So she was phenomenal. All new material that I hadn't heard. The crowd, I was surprised by the crowd. So the crowd was, I didn't remember booking the tickets, but I got like very good seats, like very,
front and center.
F. Yeah. And the crowd, I'll just say this, there were a lot of masks.
Oh.
Yeah. And this is not to say anything, but there were a lot of trans people there.
Oh.
And just in our immediate vicinity, like there were a trans couple on either side of us, and then in the middle. So, not saying anything about that. I was just like, I was surprised by the crowd because I didn't really know who would go to Maria Bamford.
Yeah, youngish, presumably.
Youngish, but you know what? Very queer.
Yeah,
a very queer crowd. So, and I was like, I had no idea that Maria Bamford was like a queer comic. And, and then I realized that the last show that I saw at the Palais was Louis. And then I had this real, like, giving myself a pat on the back moment, because no one else is going to do it. And I'm just like, here I am. Maria Bamford's one of my favorite comedians.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with my my friends, my brethren, my fellow comedy lovers.
Trans ally, yeah.
Trans ally, baby. I'm enjoying this comedy, like genuinely, you know? And then I'm also, enjoying Louis, with a very different audience, very male, very, what his audience is.
Yep.
The guys that really stuck with him, not great guys, not great guys on the surface. But I just was like, that's cool, of me, that
you are a hero.
I
know you weren't going to say it, but I'll say it for you.
Thank you. I am a hero, and I just comedy's comedy. Like, it makes me laugh. So I'm just like, I'm good on you, Mike.
I like that when I asked you how was Maria Bamford, you spent 5.5 minutes building up to you saying I'm a fucking hero because I like diverse comedy. How was the show? Yeah, you're right. I am great.
Well, look, I don't think I get enough credit.
Nor enough of a chance to big yourself up. So yeah, I'm glad that we were able to provide this avenue. How was the show?
What show?
Okay, yeah, great, cool.
No, I mean, like the show was great. She was very weird. She there was a little bit of political stuff in there. She had some great bits. There was a bit about one that really hit was this. She had a bit about Esther Perel. There's like couples.
No,
she's kind of like a celebrity. Like she talks about relationships, and she's very French, and she's great.
Okay.
She's like a therapist, right?
Right.
I love Esther Perel, which was stuff, and listened to a podcast. But Maria Bamford was like, we've been getting into this lady, and she does this impression of Esther Perel, which is pretty spot on. And then she said that she can't stop. She can't keep listening to the podcast because Esther Perel has incorporated these ads. So she'll be like talking about death and grief, and then she'll be like, have you thought about redesigning your website? But
sliding in, yeah.
And she went on for, and I had this exact same experience with that particular podcast. Wow. So it just really hit, and then she just extrapolated it for like 15 minutes. It was like gold. Awesome. I actually missed the closer though because I couldn't concentrate the last 5 minutes. I was just dying to take a leak.
Oh,
and it's one of those places where you, like, if you need to get out, everyone has to get up.
Yeah.
And as I said, trans couples either side, already I'm in a very apologetic state.
Yeah.
Just being me.
Yeah.
And so I was really holding off, and I realized at one point I was like, I can't even concentrate on the words. Yeah. So I was like, this is stupid. And then, so I was like, all right, fine, I'll just do it. Maybe she'd go on for another 15 minutes. And then I got real dirty, filthy looks from everyone around me and behind me. But so anyway, great show, and I was great too.
You got the thumbs up.
Hell yeah, baby.
Did Elise enjoy it?
No, yeah. So I should have said that. Sorry. Oh yeah, Elise was there. No, she did. She was crazy. She took a little bit to warm up because. Yeah. Maria Beth, I'm using her full name. Maria came out and she was in like hot pink suit, and she just started doing this weird dance. That was her opening, and she didn't say anything for like 5 minutes. She started just doing these weird dances. Elise I could feel her going, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
But no, she was cracking up.
Lady Dynamite, great show.
Lady Dynamite, love Lady. Yeah. Oh no, she did. She talked a little bit about her upbringing with Christianity and a little bit of like. Leaving the church or leaving God and stuff, and how that conversation took place with her mum, which is, again, right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's interesting. I agree that I would not necessarily have thought that she was like gay icon Maria Bamford, but at the same time, I think I can see a very obvious overlap because she's got that neurodivergence thing. She's got a different brain. I think that attracts a different kind of, audience member, and I think I can see that. A fairly straight line or a fairly large overlap in the Venn diagram with like the queer audiences and the that kind of comedy styling.
Yeah, it was funny because it was one of those audiences that like the she'll mention the word like consent, and someone will go woo.
Yeah,
You know, it's like,
I mean,
oh,
you're in
please.
Melbourne.
Yeah. Anyway, it was great show.
Mikey boy, I got some myths.
Well, you should tell me them. On fire today, dude.
You got to say play the jingle.
Play the jingle, sir. Michael's moved, annoyed, displeased, riled up, offended, aggrieved, irritated, chagrined, pissed off, put out, resentful, and big, discontented. Michael's moved.
Alrighty, I got two. They're not huge, but they are myths, and we need to get through them. Went out for brunch yesterday. Looking at the menu, got a few interesting sort of options there. It's not a standard brunch menu. It's like a seafood restaurant, a little bit Asian influence. We're talking like prawn Benedict. We're talking a little bit of like a bulgogi croissant. We're talking a little bit of like a tofu scramble. You know, it takes a little bit more thinking, right?
Seafood for brunch.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was good. It wasn't.
Right.
I wouldn't go there every day, but you know, like a bit of a variety. Eggs Benny gets a little samey. Anyway, I've sat down. We've been there maybe like 4 minutes. You know, there happens to be only one menu at the table, so we're taking a bit of time to look at both sides. Very attentive server comes over and asks, "Are you ready to order?" And I'm like, you know, yeah, I think I can do this. Yeah, I've had enough time to think.
I can whip something
I'm
up.
ready. And she says, "Hit me with it."
Ooh, okay.
Michael, I don't think as a server you can say "hit me with it." I don't think that's...
It's pretty bold.
It's a bold choice when you're taking orders.
Showing a little bit too much personality.
A little bit too flavored. A little bit, that's too much of you in that.
Hit me with it.
Hit me with it. Hit me with it, Michael. It feels inappropriate. I've just met you. It's just 2 minutes in. You know, we haven't got a rapport yet.
Yeah, it's very weird. Also, hit me with it. I'd use hit me with it when someone's like, all right, I got some bad news.
Yeah.
Hit me with it. Maybe your order's bad news, but
yeah. Our seafood is not fresh today.
No, I agree. That would make me uncomfortable too.
Yeah. It set a weird tone. What can I say?
Did you hit her?
No.
With it?
No. I gave my order, but I felt like I had to present it. Yeah. Related.
Thyroid.
What's your preference here? A bottle of water on the table that you can top yourself up with at any time, or only glasses, depending on a server to come and bring past the jug?
Definitely not the second one.
Well, guess what we had? Glasses only, and a server who had to top up the glass. Because then, you know, I'm halfway through the meal, my glass is empty. You know, you don't want to be the person that looks over the shoulder, gives a bit of a wave to someone to get their attention. But at the same time, if your promise as a restaurant is that we are in charge of your water, then you got to be around there to give water to people. I'm sorry, brunch is a busy time. If you're not going to be there, just put a fucking bottle there.
Yeah, it's like, do you not trust me?
Do you not trust me?
To manage my own water?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I hate even more than that is you get the cups and then they have a water station.
Oh, and you can't even take a bottle. You have to keep going up and down to the tap.
And potentially line up.
Yeah.
With other zebras.
I will say the one asterisk to that is sometimes, maybe it's more over here than over there, you get a multi-tap situation where you can get still or sparkling. If you got a sparkling on tap there, I get it. I do get it.
Yeah, no, I don't go to those types of fancy places.
Okay. Anyway,
sparkling on tap.
Sparkling on tap.
Totally agree.
Yep. There's
two great myths.
You got one for me because I got one left.
Oh, I wasn't even.
Look, I can roll straight through. If you're playing host today, maybe your role is just to listen.
Let me throw one in there. I just hate it when people. Oh, you see this with kids a lot. They just got their headphones in all the time, right? And they'll just be with their parents or with their friends, and then both of them have their fucking AirPods in. They're just talking. I'm like, what are you listening to music? Like, if you're listening to music, listen to music. Don't talk to me. But if you're talking to me, take your headphones out.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
I
that's
hate
just
this.
courtesy.
It's courtesy, but it's an epidemic.
I don't know if that's the word I'd use, but I get it.
Pandemic. It's a pandemic.
It's a pandemic.
Yeah.
The WHO has declared it.
Needs to be stopped.
Okay. I think I've hit on a gold mine with this one. So brace yourself.
No. Okay.
Michael, what are we doing with sock sizes? Because if you go and you buy some socks, you know what they say? They say sizes 6 to 11 or sizes 11 to 13. And I'm sorry, but this is just chaos. This is just chaos. How can a foot be 6 to 11? How can 5 different sizes of foot be encompassed by one type of sock? And then if you get on the other side of it, up to 11 to 13, only 2. So what are we doing with these ranges here? Why, if there is such a diversity, are we not selling individual socks at individual sizes like we do with shoes? Why does someone who has an 11 size foot, happens to be me, why do I have 2 types of socks that could fit me? Why am I at the top of the smaller size, 6 to 11, and the smaller of the bigger size? This is just madness.
It's sickening. Why do you get to be so broad?
Yes.
With your sizes?
Yes.
Like essentially what you've done is make 2 sizes.
Yes.
Of socks, 1 and 2. That's and small, big.
And
say that.
I look. I don't understand any of the logic that's gone into this choice. Why is 6 to 11 deemed to be an appropriate range, but not like 11 to 16? Why, as an 11, do I have 2 options here? Also, why are we not selling them individually? If I'm a size 10 foot, say, I have no choice, but that is going to be a very tight sock on me. If I'm a size 6 foot, I have no choice, and it's going to be an incredibly loose sock on me. Oh, this is just craziness.
It's crazy, and I think big sock needs to be stopped.
I agree.
Because they've run amok. They're causing havoc in society.
They have. And we're not even considering the fact that over time they loosen, over time they might shrink in the dryer. There's just so many variables here. I think as a society, if we've decided that shoes come in individual sizes and half sizes for that fucking matter.
Don't you point your finger at me,
We need to demand a sock revolution where you can get a size 7 sock, a size 7.5 sock, an 8 sock. Let's just break up this crazy 2-tiered system of sock sizes and just return to rationality. And that's why I am running for president of the United States of America. Yes! Fight! Fight! Fight!
America!
I'm a survivor. No. I don't forgive her. I don't know the lyrics.
Yeah, no, that's it's a great point, and it's a great campaign just running on the sock size slogan.
I just want someone to draw up a Obama era political poster, and it just says hope, just hope and change.
Yeah, yes we can.
Yes we can.
I actually bought a 3-pack of socks, Explorers, the other day. From Amazon. Nothing better than a new
fresh sock experience.
Explorers, thick socks.
Juicy socks, yeah.
You know what size I got?
11s.
Extra medium, baby.
Extra medium? What the fuck is an extra medium?
It's the size I invented. That's been a joke of mine for ages.
It's a good joke. I never heard that joke.
Pretty good.
It is. I'll pay it. We have 3 jokes in this episode now. That's great.
There you go.